Hey, good morning everyone to a new week. It's Monday, July 1st. Yesterday we closed the daily, monthly, weekly, and quarterly candle actually. So we'll take a look at those in a little bit. First, we'll start off on the 1 hour time frame and see exactly what's going on. So here you see a quick drop off, right near the closing yesterday. Prices came down to a low of about 10,600 or so. Something interesting about this is the fact that even though prices dropped from the low that was put in 2 or 3 days ago, right, you could still see a higher low, right? So this was the low right here. Prices came in, moved a bit higher than this area right here. Okay, so in my opinion, at least on the 1 hour time frame, I know in the larger picture, this looks at least a bit more neutral, given the fact that we're not just creating lower highs right here like this, lower highs like this. That's one negative point, but we're not creating lower lows, we're creating higher lows. Okay, so that to me is a bit more positive. So this implies that the shakeout right here, the big drop that happened, the sell-off that happened, whatever you want to call it, okay, it contained a lot of volume. You can see right here, okay? And over here, the volume has dropped off significantly, okay? So I would say that at some point over the next couple of days, there should be a bit of consolidation, all right? Consolidation probably between this 10.6 low right here and this 11,400 marker right here. This would be the first marker that price needs to be able to get over to be able to establish a new trend potentially. So if we're just doing something like this, okay, I don't know, something like that, all price needs to do is hover around this area, kind of like this, maybe like this and like this over the next 2 or 3 days, and then finally try to break up through it. Okay, so the first marker we're looking for a potential movement up is 11,400. All right, this was, as you can see, this rejection right here from this previous support. Okay, if we look closer, notice how I've stated many times that previous supports oftentimes become new resistance levels, okay? So previous demand becomes new supply. You can look at it that way, okay? So when prices went up to this 12,400 area, look how sharply it bounced right there, right? And moved away from it. Again, came back down to that same area, support, rejection, and then fell off through. And then again, try to retest that same area and then rejection again. Okay, so now if I stretch this out for a bit further, okay, look at this and see how the wicks over here, right there, hit this wick of support and this wick of support right here. Okay, guys, this is no coincidence. Okay, this is technicals at work. Previous support becomes new resistance. Okay, so now on the way up, that's the same thing that's going to happen. Okay, if we zoom out a little bit, we're now going to be stuck in this tightening price action area, okay, where prices are essentially going to be moving kind of like this in this ascending triangle potentially. Okay, how do I sort of come to that conclusion? Because all I'm doing is taking the bottom of this wick right here and drawing a straight line through them. Okay, so I would hope that price moves in this area, this tightening area, and at some point breaks on through. Okay, now the next marker we're looking for is this. Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, this marker is especially more relevant because this is really where prices dropped off from this high right here of 13,900 all the way to a low of 10,400 or so. If we do a fib retracement, you can see this is a 618 retrace. Okay, right around that area. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, but it's very close to the 618 Fibonacci retrace. Let's just say 60%, right? Typically, more often than not, the 618 is the fib level where supports bounce or resistance levels get rejected, okay? Where price, comes to this level and gets rejected. That's exactly what happened right here, okay? And this is why a few days ago we had a short-term long position from 10,700 or 10,600, and we closed it right around this area, all right? Now that we've sort of dropped off from there, I would expect this same area to be a decent amount of resistance on the way up, okay? Because this is typically where a lot of the sellers are. And again, same thing with this. Look how this area matches up with this support right here, okay? All these candles right here closed above this area, right? And then over here again, if we zoom in closer, it bounced once right there, right? Closed above that area, and again, bounced twice, hit the wicks right there, closed above this area, and then got rejected, and then just fell on through, came back around to hit this as resistance, and boom, got rejected again, okay? So for the most part, that's really what we're looking for, those two levels. So if you're waiting on the sidelines, those two levels might be the areas that you want to look up to. Or you can sort of range trade where if it breaks over this successfully, take the trade up to here. If it breaks above this level, take the trade from here to this high right here, okay? Not investment advice, I'm just saying that if you were to trade it, trade this market, that's how I would do it, okay? Here's something else that's interesting, all right? Every time BTC has sort of consolidated right here, it's created a bearish divergence where price moves sideways for a little bit, dumps off, things look a bit scary, okay? See, like right here, things look a bit scary for a couple days because prices went from a high of 5,400 to a low of almost 4,900, okay? Over here, the volatility of this is probably about the same percent that you would see like that. That's about a 10.7% drop. Even over here, prices went from a high of about 9,100 to a low of about 7,400, so about a 17% drop. The higher you go, folks, the bigger the price range drops you're going to see. That's just how it's going to be as BTC moves up, right? $1,000 movements, volatility up and down is just normal for the crypto market. At least it was in the, 2017 bullish days, right? So here you can see prices are down about, or actually they went to a low of almost about 24 to 25%, all right? So it's no surprise that volatility as we go up is going to be increasingly high, okay? So what I found in this area right here in these consolidation phases is that when prices move sideways for maybe a good 3 to 4 weeks, right? Price tends to try to break out, okay, over here, and then it hits this bearish divergence, comes back down, okay? Bearish divergence, again, is higher highs in price, lower high in RSI or oscillator, okay? Again, over here, this high right here in price, the RSI is way high up here. Price went even higher, RSI created lower high, bearish divergence, boom, sell off, right? So I would not be surprised if we have another bearish divergence being played out over the next, I don't know, few days or maybe a week or so, okay? So keep that in mind. But also keep the levels in mind that I just stated, that 11,400 area, okay? That would be your first marker of resistance, okay? And also, a few days ago, I had mentioned that our community was fortunate enough to essentially get out of the market right around 13,600 all the way to 13,900 because for the most part, we were well aware that this price is way overextended to the upside, and a sell-off at some point was going to resume. Okay, we didn't know exactly when, but it's better to get out on top rather than being greedy for a few more extra percent, right? So we were fortunate to get out of it, and everything is timestamped right here. You can see in our community. Let's see where it is. As you can see right here, last Wednesday, which was I think June 26th, I market sold the 10% of my BTC right here at 13,800, 100% in cash now. So as you can see, you know, people get to see exactly what I'm doing. All right, folks, and that is essentially what you pay for in this community. You get to see the visibility of our analysts like myself and Jordan, whether we're going short or long. All right, and you know, for the most part, guys, we know what we're doing. We know what we're about, and we, you know, make some good gains and money in this market. It's all visible right here in gains reviews. Okay, all these people right here, you know, seeing our analysis, our non-financial advice, they get to take advantage of our information, and if they want, they could buy or sell, make money off it, whatever they want to do. Okay, it's truly up to them. So these are the people that believe in what we're doing and they find benefit in it, right? And you can see all of these reviews right here, folks. This is not a coincidence. Okay, a lot of these people have found our information to be very valuable. Okay, so I hope you do come join Advantage and you find the same value in our analysis. All right, you know, I do these free videos quite a bit for the people who are lurking on YouTube, or people, you know, the free lounge that we have. But the meat of our information, everything that you see right now, has already been told in my Bitcoin analysis channel about, you know, 10 to 14 hours ago. So this analysis that you're getting is a bit late, right? This is exactly what other analysts will do too, but except, are they really going to show you exactly what they're doing? Are they just saying that, hey, we think BTC is going to go up? Well, how much? You know, when are you getting into a position? Do you have skin in the game? And in my community, guys, I do have skin in the game. Okay, I show it every single day. I show exactly what I'm in right now. Okay, here are my entry points. All right, here's the rest of my position in cash. Okay, here are my medium-term positions. Okay, so do you have the same sort of visibility with your community? And do they provide short-term trade setups and updates every single day like we do? Like in the Bitcoin analysis channel, I provide multiple updates through the day. Okay, I show people exactly what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing in the charts, why I'm seeing it, what levels I'm watching, just like I'm doing right now. Everything that I'm doing right now has been already shown, you know, yesterday or a few days ago, right? So I hope you understand, you know, why it's so important for you to understand what exactly is happening in this market in real time, because that's what you get with our community, real-time updates like this. Okay, all right, enough tooting the horn. Back to the analysis. So anyway, you know, bearish divergence I do expect to play out. So I would expect price to sort of, you know, hover sideways like this a little bit, have a big sort of fake out, get that bearish divergence, and then tank a little bit back towards support, and then finally take off. Okay, so I would say, you know, anywhere between the next 2 to 4 weeks we might have consolidation, because even over here, you know, we had consolidation from May 13th all the way to about June 11th or so, right? So about a good month of consolidation right here. Even over here, the high of this candle was April 3rd, and then we got out of this area right around, I don't know, April 27th or so. So again, a good month. Okay, so keep an eye on something like this, the bearish divergence playing out. All right. Where's the other chart that I'm looking at? I think it's over here. Okay, so another area that I was pointing to a few days ago, and you can look back on my videos, is the intersection of these two lines. Okay, these two trend lines are very important because they touch from this marker right here, here, over here, and over here. Okay, and when price came to it as resistance, you could see we got rejected a little bit right around that same area, and then boom, we moved away, use that same trend line as support, and then now we're intersecting both those lines with price. Okay, so this other line comes from this resistance right here of the pennant, and this one, and this touch right here. Okay, so no surprise that both these lines come to meet price right around that same area. I would say this is a pretty decent support, just based on, you know, the technicals of many things matching up here. What I showed you earlier of the higher low on price action, and now what I'm showing you on the daily time frame of these two lines intersecting right here. Okay, and if we also map out a fib from this low to this, I bet it's a 382 or something around this area. Okay, so I think it's well beyond the 382 fib. We're coming close maybe to the 50. Let me see if the 50 lines up. Don't worry about the dogs, folks. They're my neighbor's dogs. So here's the 50 Fibonacci level that we're hitting right now of this entire move that you're seeing. Again, I would say the 618 fib is typically the more stronger one, and that is currently around, you know, 9,900, 10,000 area. So if price were to fall, you know, in terms of fibs, I could see this $9,900 area being hit. Okay. All right. Another thing that we're looking for. So let me go back on the longer time frame. Okay. And this is to illustrate exactly what's happening in the bigger time frames. All right. So here's the weekly chart. Okay. Here's something that's really interesting, I find. If we look at this weekly candle, this is a massive shooting star. Okay. In any case, you know, this shooting star candle like this is typically a very you know, bearish reversal candle, especially sitting on the top of a trend. All right. We've had sort of, you know, this kind of indecision doji right here, this one right here at the top of trends. But typically, you know, we have a sell off for another week, and then, you know, some big reversals that come up. Okay. I think it's safe to say that the trend of BTC, even now with the shooting star, is still up. Okay, the definition of a shooting star is that it's a reverse, it's a potential reversal candle. Okay, it doesn't mean that it is definitely going to be a reversal, right? Because remember, you know, all of these things that you see, whether it's a shooting star or, you know, a bull pennant or bear flag, whatever, right? These are marked by probabilities. Okay, and the probability of this shooting star candle leans more bearish than bullish, but does it mean that it's a 100% certainty that it's bearish? No, absolutely not. Okay, over here you can see this candle was marked by a bearish candle, right? So it actually did get validated, but then the pickup on that was two massive bullish candles on the weekly. So there's no way that you could predict what kind of, you know, depth this bearishness, this candle will bring in terms of bearishness. Same with this candle. Okay, the weekly finished off like this, right? But the follow-up weekly is already turning a bit bullish. So I mean, I know it's only been 12 hours and we have a long way to go. Okay, but if we see this weekly candle start digging up into this area, don't be surprised. Okay, and here's something else. Okay, there's a lot of sell volume that got dumped in this weekly candle, and yet the price didn't even budge that much. I mean, I know it went to a high of 13,900 and it closed right around 10,700, but didn't impact the price as heavily as back here, right? Even low volume candles right here, in terms of sell-offs, would tank the price significantly. So what this kind of says is, even though the volume was really high, the result was not as much. Okay, it takes a lot of volume and energy to be able to bring down the prices in this bullish trend than it did in this bearish trend. Bearish trend over here, it took less volume to tank the price more. In this bullish trend, it takes significantly high volume and it's still unable to tank the price a lot. Okay, so every single time that we see, you know, sell-offs like this, at least from the perspective of the volume as well as the you know, daily, weekly, monthly bullish candles, it gets bought up. Okay, now let me show you the monthly as well. Here's how the monthly looks. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big months of bullish upside. All right, and now even this bullish monthly candle, if it climbs higher and higher over the span of the next month, again, a very positive sign. I would say at the very least, you know, the biggest closing of the monthly was the fact that it closed above these two candles right here. Okay, even on the weekly, I would say that this weekly right here essentially closed above this one and this one. It didn't close above this one right here, which is about 11,600. But it may happen because over the next week or two, right, it could close above this area. So on the weekly, that's really the important, you know, time marker to watch. On the monthly, the most critical area, I would say, is already been broken. Okay, we closed above this on the monthly. Now, really, what's remaining is, I would say, up here. Okay, the 13,900. But as you can see, we already hit this area and got rejected. Okay. So the next month will be very telling of what's going to happen. Now here's a 3-month chart. The 3-month chart just shows a massive bullish candle right here. I mean, this is, you know, one of the biggest bullish candles on a quarterly level that we've seen maybe in the last, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 years. Okay, you can clearly see right here that this bullish candle is basically the size of this one. Might not be the size of this one or this one, but very positive in my opinion. Okay, so I think, again, the trend in my opinion is still up. I don't know how to sort of discount the momentum that we've had so far, whether it's quarterly or monthly or weekly. Okay, so the point is that I do expect some consolidation to happen right here, and over the next coming days, we'll have to see exactly where BTC price lands. And like I said, watch for these higher lows, you know, to hold up in price right here. Okay, and see if it creates this tightening action towards this 11,400 marker. All right. Now, another thing that I want to point out is I saw LTC moving, you know, higher at a higher percentage movement than most of the other alts. And typically when I've seen this happen, LTC has been, you know, the better runner in a market, okay, above BTC, above Ethereum, above BNB or BCH, okay. So do keep an eye on LTC as it could get moving, because every time BTC ticks up $100 or something, LTC moves a ridiculous amount. Just something for you guys to keep in mind. All right, our community already has exposure to LTC. We got in a bit early, so we're still good. Okay, I wanted to show you guys the pitchfork that I was looking at. So here's that pitchfork, okay, that I had drawn a few days ago. This is on the daily chart. All right, here's something really interesting on the pitchfork. Okay, we went beyond this golden rung right here, okay, the golden and even the green rung. See over here, this area right here, let me see if I can get rid of this. Okay, all right, there we go. The green rung right here, this one and this one was resistance, right? Finally, price went and broke right through that, and you can see that price is now coming to that same area as support. Okay, the same rung that was once resistance right there, resistance right there, right? I hope you guys can see this bit more clearly. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, there we go. Right, so you can see that as resistance right there, resistance in the green rung right there. That represents, I think, let's see what fib it is. Oh, 0.382. So on this pitchfork, this is the 0.382 fib. Okay, you can see price went to the high of the outer extension of this fib pitchfork. So the red is 1.5 extension, right? So this is a 1.5 Fibonacci extension right here. Went as high as that and then came back down. And look, you can see right there, that was resistance, resistance, and now it's testing it as support, okay? So I would not be surprised if prices bounce or hover sideways on this level slowly over the next, week or so, or maybe even 2 weeks, and then keep climbing. Okay, I would say that might be an appropriate possibility over the coming weeks. So the point is, folks, with the analysis that I've done so far is, of course, if you look at this chart right here on the smaller time frames like the hourlies, 4 hourlies, or even the daily, right? Shorting would have been more appropriate from over here or over here. But I would personally say that shorting right now may not be the wisest bet. If you are looking to short, I would wait for this low to be broken, or even this low, and then the downside targets, okay, and I can list those out. Let's see. Where's my other chart? Let me show you guys exactly what I was looking at. Because there's definitely, a lot of downside targets that we're looking at. Let me see where it is. Okay, so I think it's over here. All right, so the downside targets for BTC, if this support gets broken first around 10,600 or this low of 10,400, would be right around this low right here. Okay, so it'd be around 9,500 or so, all the way to a low of about 9,000. Okay, so those would be the areas to keep in mind for BTC if it does fall. Okay, that's really the next big support. I don't see anything else in the way to hold price up for the foreseeable future. Okay, beyond that, if we go back even further, okay, I would say anywhere between this 9,800 top, or I'm sorry, 8,800 top, and maybe this area right here that was rejected multiple times around 8,200. So 8,800 would be the next stop, and 8,200. Okay, so those would be the levels to look for, right? 9,500 to 9,000, and then 8,800, and then 8,200. But in my opinion, I don't think we have anything to be concerned about of prices just falling on through, unless first these levels get broken, right? So 10.6 and then 10.4, and then from 10.4, like I said, don't see anything else in the way till about 94, 9,500. Okay, so levels to keep in mind just in case. All right, always be prepared, right? And in our community, we of course are Ethereum, US dollar. Let's see how that bad boy is doing. Ether is, here's something about Ether that I find interesting too. It is bouncing off perfectly off this big support that it's had, or I'm sorry, this big area that was resistance right here, right? See, resistance, resistance, and then bounced up and away, went all the way to a high of like 370 or something, and then came back down to that same level. Okay, the fact that it's bouncing off this trend line right now, in my opinion, is a very positive sign. And I think, BTC and the market, in my opinion, moves in a way where most alts are doing something similar. Okay, at least the more reputable alts like Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum or Litecoin or EOS. All right, what they're doing is they're breaking one level at a time as resistance flipped into support. Okay, so once Ethereum broke out of this big sideways trading range, it went all the way up here, coming back to test this as support. It'll probably move sideways here for a little bit and then go back up towards this level, okay, that 390 to 400 resistance area, okay? So I find it extremely, interesting and peculiar, the fact that all of these alts, right? So even if I show you LTC, okay, here's LTC. LTC has, you can see this red box right here. This box right here stretches back all the way to 2018 bear market. Support right there, support right there, support, broke on through all the way. It was resistance once right there, twice right there, okay? Even over here was resistance, but then finally it broke on through, right? So resistance, resistance, resistance at the high of the block, and then finally broke on through, and then now it's looking to retest this area of support and then keep on moving up, okay? So that's one other asset that is looking like BTC, right? Same thing, let's try BCH, okay? See how BCH is doing. Same thing, right? It was support right here, support, 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 and then broke on through. And again, it was resistance, 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 rejection right there, high of the resistance, and now trying to do its best to turn this area into support and then keep on moving up, okay? So you can see one thing that's interesting about these charts is that they are all sitting on, critical levels where they've tried to turn previous resistance into support. And I think it would benefit most of the space, especially the coins that I just showed you, for BTC to hang on to its level right now, because all of these alts are already at their critical levels. If BTC breaks down further, that means these break down further. That means all the work that they've done so far of trying to turn previous areas of resistance into support will have been broken, and prices could accelerate down really fast, okay? And I personally don't think BTC is at the point where it's just going to go straight down to, I don't know, 8,000 or 6,000, whatever ridiculous number people are talking about. I mean, it could very well happen, but I think we'll see definitely some structural issues before then. And, again, over here, guys, if you start looking at daily charts, I mean, look at the volume sort of dropping off, the sell side volume, right? Now we just need the buy side volume to start picking up to the upside, and things will get really interesting, after that, okay? You can see even over here, there's a high volume node that's holding up price too. The bottom of this node is right around 10,800 or so, okay? So even in terms of the VPVR, price is being held up really nicely in critical areas, okay? So in my opinion, all around, things still look pretty decent for BTC. But like I said, if that 10.6 breaks, look for 10.4, and if 10.4 breaks, then more than likely we're going to 9,400. Okay, so I will be sort of updating my positions accordingly. I'll be letting my community know, and I hope you are prepared as well. Okay, so with that being said, folks, that's all I have. I would say maybe one final thing I guess I can show is this thing right here. This is the chart that I had shown about BTC essentially reaching, a very high dominance level. All right. The market cap dominance for BTC has reached to, previous highs that it did in November, October 2017. And then, typically it did drop off every time price did, come to this level. And when it does drop off, this is where price typically finds supported. And this is where the alt season happens. Okay, so when the BTC dominance drops off, then we see a big alt season happen. So if this is truly to happen, I guess, alt season might be next, okay? But if alt season is next, that means that we might have a bigger sort of bear market again for the next, I don't know, 3, 6, 9 months. And I just, in my opinion, don't see the case, because I think more and more people are invested in BTC all around the world. People are building investment strategies trying to accommodate BTC as an asset in their economies, in their funds, in their investment strategies. So I don't know if the prices are just going to fall and capitulate so easily, because I don't think Fidelity or Backed or all these different funds around the world put in so much work and time for BTC to only go from 3,000 to 13,000. I think, they want to take this asset for the long haul, probably for that 10x or 50x or 100x, kind of thing. Okay. Again, just my opinion. That's if I was someone who was accumulating Bitcoin like smart money was all through the 2018 bear market lows and even that capitulation that we had at 3,100, I don't think that 1,300 or 13,000 would be the top, right? Food for thought. Okay, so I've showed you, the dominance of the of Bitcoin. I've showed you guys the pitchfork. I've showed you guys smaller time frames to watch. I guess this is the final thing. This is where, the others or altcoin dominance, you can see even that is sort of falling off as BTC headed up there, up higher in terms of market cap dominance. So no surprise there, because altcoins for the most part really just have crappy looking charts. Okay, and I would be very careful if I was, trading for BTC pairs, because so far you've basically been getting wrecked all the way from May 2018. Altcoins have essentially lost more and more market cap and dominance. So you're basically trading against a trend if you're trying to get into that. All right. That's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found my analysis impactful. You now have levels to watch, and the 11,400 as the marker to break to the upside, and then the 12,400 or 500 marker being the most important one. And then to the downside, we have the 10,600, 10,400. Those two are critical markers, as you can see right there and right there. If that breaks, then more than likely 9.5 all the way down to about 9,000 is really the next spot to hold up, and then 8,800 and then 8,200 in my opinion. Okay. All right, folks, thank you so much. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and comment on what you think is going to be happening to price action over the next couple of days. And take care and have a wonderful Monday.